A violent lightning storm tore across the skies of Salem, Massachusetts, striking an old abandoned laboratory hidden deep in the woods. Locals whispered that the place had been deserted for decades, the work of a mad scientist long dead, but tonight it was alive again. Dr. Victor Stein's silhouette emerged from the shadows, eyes wild, hands trembling as he surveyed the lab he had left behind. Years of secret experiments had continued in the darkness, stitching together a being from fragments of stolen lives. Electricity surged through veins of synthetic flesh, and a low, guttural growl filled the room. The creature stirred, lifting its head, its eyes glowing with a strange, unnatural intelligence. The storm raged outside, but inside, a different kind of terror was awakening. Unseen and unheard, the townspeople went about their lives, oblivious to the monster now alive, learning, and hungry for its first taste of freedom. Fear and curiosity intertwined as the town unknowingly teetered on the edge of disaster, unaware that their world was about to be reshaped in darkness. The first disappearance sent a ripple of panic through Salem. A hunter, known for his courage and skill, ventured into the woods to track deer and never returned. All that remained was a trail of blood and shredded clothing. Sheriff Daniels, a man of reason, initially dismissed it as an attack by a wild animal, but the rumors told a different story. Witnesses claimed they saw a colossal figure with twisted limbs and glowing eyes lurking near the edge of the forest, watching, learning, calculating. Panic spread through the town as children whispered about a monster in the night, while adults clutched their doors in fear. Meanwhile, Victor Stein watched from the shadows, his fascination growing alongside his dread. The creature, aware of its own strength and intelligence, began testing boundaries. It moved with silent purpose, observing the townspeople, sensing their fear, and discovering a world it did not yet understand. Each step it took deepened the divide between creator and creation. A storm of terror and curiosity brewed in Salem, a dark symphony of nature and unnatural power converging, as the hunter became the hunted, and the hunted became something else entirely. The nights in Salem became restless and filled with whispers of dread. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, and every creak in the old houses was met with frantic glances toward the darkened forests. Teenagers dared one another to approach the outskirts, only to return with stories of figures that moved too quickly, too deliberately to be human. Some never returned at all. Strange symbols, carved meticulously into wooden doors and stone walls, suggested intelligence behind the terror, an understanding of fear that seemed almost human. Victor Stein wrestled with guilt, realizing that his creation was no longer just a product of science, but a living entity with thoughts, desires, and rage. The monster began speaking in soft, chilling murmurs, practicing words and phrases, understanding its power over the terrified town. Fear mutated into obsession, curiosity became terror. The town, once peaceful and quiet, now teetered on the edge of chaos. Families huddled together, sharing stories of vanished neighbors and monstrous sightings, while the monster, ever watchful, learned the delicate patterns of human behavior. Each encounter tested the limits of its strength, intelligence, and morality, pushing it further down a path where anger, curiosity, and the need to exist collided in terrifying harmony. Sheriff Daniels sought help from Dr. Evelyn Carter, a forensic scientist from Boston with experience in unexplained phenomena. Together, they traced the monster's path through the town, uncovering grisly remnants of lives torn apart. Each clue painted a picture of calculated violence, intelligence beyond the ordinary, and an awareness of the terror it inspired. Their investigation led them to Victor Stein's abandoned lab, where journals revealed decades of forbidden experiments, notes of obsession, and sketches of stitched flesh. The monster, growing bolder, began manipulating the townspeople with subtle signs, footprints, guttural sounds, and glimpses of shadow, creating paranoia and distrust. Every step the investigators took, every attempt to understand or trap the creature, only strengthened it. Victor, torn between pride and horror, recognized the irreversible consequences of his ambition. Salem became a chessboard, each citizen a pawn caught in a battle between human morality and inhuman intellect. The town streets, once lively, were now haunted corridors of fear, each alley holding the potential for terror. The monster, observing, seemed to study the human response to dread, shaping its actions with deliberate precision, aware that control over fear could be as powerful as brute strength, and perhaps more devastating. Victor's long-time assistant doctor, Jonas Reed, betrayed him in pursuit of power and recognition. He believed the creature could be weaponized, sold to the military as a perfect predator, a living weapon of unparalleled strength. Capturing the monster proved easier said than done. Its intelligence allowed it to anticipate traps, escape, and retaliate with devastating force. Houses burned, streets were scarred with violence, and the town descended further into panic. Victor's fascination twisted into despair as he watched his creation grow beyond his control, an entity capable of both thought and carnage. The monster began speaking more coherently, articulating its pain, rage, and confusion, demanding recognition from the humans who feared it. As it moved through Salem, destruction followed, but so did a disturbing sense of morality. It only harmed when provoked or manipulated. The townspeople, witnessing fragments of intelligence and emotion behind the monstrous visage, began questioning their own assumptions. Fear now mingled with a grim fascination. Victor realized that his creation was a mirror of humanity's darkest impulses, reflecting ambition, greed, and vengeance in flesh and bone. The monster was no longer simply a creature of terror. It had become a testament to the consequences of unchecked human ambition. Chaos erupted one fateful night as the town plunged into darkness. A power outage coincided with the monster's most daring attack, and Salem became a labyrinth of screams, smoke, and fire. Citizens barricaded themselves in homes while fires raged in the streets, illuminating glimpses of a towering figure moving with terrifying speed. Sirens pierced the air, but no one could stop what had been set in motion. Victor and Evelyn confronted the creature amidst the chaos, desperately pleading for reason, for mercy. The monster, for the first time, hesitated, revealing a spark of something unexpected: conflict, doubt, even humanity. Its wrath was tempered by an emerging awareness, a recognition of its own existence and the morality of its actions. Soldiers and militia arrived, guns aimed, but the creature's intelligence allowed it to evade capture, leaving behind a scene of devastation that would haunt the town for years. The darkness outside mirrored the darkness within, as the boundaries between humanity and monstrosity blurred. Salem had learned that terror was not just in the unknown. It was in the creation of man itself, the product of ambition, isolation, and the hubris to play God. The abandoned laboratory became the stage for the final confrontation. Victor faced his creation alone, fear and regret etched into every line of his face. Words became arguments, arguments became fury, and fury erupted into violence. Walls shook, glass shattered, and the storm outside mirrored the chaos inside. Evelyn tried to mediate, to reason with both creator and creation, but the monster's rage was a tidal wave of pain, injustice, and longing. Lives were lost, buildings collapsed, and the air filled with the smell of burning wood and ozone. Yet in a moment of shocking clarity, the monster paused. It looked at Victor, the man who gave it life and anguish, and chose mercy over vengeance. With a final, haunting gaze, it turned and disappeared into the wilderness, leaving a town broken but alive. Salem was forever altered. The echoes of the night of terror imprinted on its streets, minds, and souls. Humanity had witnessed its reflection in the monstrous, and the line between man and monster would never again be the same. Months passed, and Salem rebuilt its shattered homes and lives, but the shadow of the monster lingered. Rumors persisted of its sightings in surrounding forests and towns, whispers that grew into legend. Victor Stein vanished into obscurity, haunted by guilt and the knowledge that some creations could never be undone. Dr. Evelyn Carter began researching ways to prevent such horrors, documenting every detail, warning others of the dangers of unchecked ambition. Meanwhile, the monster, intelligent, contemplative, and self-aware, observed humanity from afar, a living testament to the consequences of playing God. It was neither hero nor villain, but a mirror reflecting the fears, greed, and hubris of those who created it. Salem had survived, yet it remained changed forever. And somewhere in the shadows of America's forests, the monster waited, patient, watching, a silent reminder that some shadows never truly fade, they only bide their time, ready to remind humanity of the darkness that lurks within,